Welcome into episode 9 of Fantasy Baseball Camp. We are getting ready here for waiver wire for week 9. We've got Tommy and Wesley here at the camp. Wesley, how you doing?
Man, I'm wearing the most comfortable shirt I think I've ever put on. Courtesy of Barrels and Barrels.
There it is.
It's going great.
There it is. I got a new shirt on too. It's my
Harry Wood.
Kerry Wood 20 strikeout game scorecard. Look at them case. There's
Love
20.
that.
There's 20 on there. Thomas, what shirt are you wearing tonight?
It's just a Sitka general shirt. Nothing fancy.
Is it comfy?
It's very comfy. Very, very soft material. Better be first best what they are. One correction, though. You said episode 9. I think you were thinking week 9. It's episode 19.
Oh, did I?
You said 9-9. It's 19, week 9.
All right, so this is episode 19, waiver wire for week 9 to get you people ready for week 9.
There you go.
Tommy, how you helping the people? Who you got?
I'm surprising myself with my choices. My first one is a Cincinnati Reds player that goes by the name of Matt Mclain. I never thought I'd be picking your Cincinnati Reds player to do anything, but they have been hot in the month of May.
They have been.
And he is a prospect that called up a couple of weeks ago. He's got 68 plate appearances. So what is that? About a week, two weeks now. And in that time, he's hit 361, 426, 541 for almost just short of 1,000 OPS. Now I'll caveat that he's got a 500 BABIP in the month of May and really his career, but he's got a 40% hard hit rate, which is above average, and 8.8% walk rate, which is good. He's still striking out a little bit much, but he's got a 4.14 expected WOBA on contact, which means he's just hitting the ball really, really hard, really, really well. Some of the expected stats are a little bit down, so I think he's got some regression coming, but he did this in the minors. He was one of the best prospects in the minors. His last line was 300 plus something, 400 plus something, 500 plus something in minors. He's basically repeating that in the big league. So I think he will have some regression, like I said, but in the meantime, I would ride this while it's hot. Especially when you combo Matt Mclain with the upcoming Christian and Crossian Strand, De La Cruz, Spencer Steer, those guys. There's going to be some counting stats to be accrued for Matt Mclain when he's hitting the middle of that lineup. So I like what he's doing. I picked him up actually as one of my prospects, and I'm riding this hot hand while it's good.
What's he owned in leagues right now? Is he widely available?
I do not know off the top of my head.
While you're looking at that, he's the 5th overall Reds prospect with just a little above average hit tool and power, above average run tool. So that's the stats you count about. Maybe hitting a little bit of power and some stolen bases.
67% rostered.
Yeah, so he's widely available and could change quickly. The Reds, yeah, like you said, the Reds are hot and they've got help coming in. If they could just get their pitching straight, Hunter Greene, Nick Lodolo come back from whatever he's got going on in his leg.
Ashcraft, figure out what's going on with him. They've got a young guy, Andrew Abbott. He's dominating the minor league right now, strikeouts wise. They could be the best team in the NL Central. No disrespect to the Cubs.
I don't want to get into any negative stuff. Did you guys see the stuff with Kirk Herbstreit today on the Reds?
No.
No.
All right, we'll talk about it later. Anyways, the premise was that they were talking about how the Reds are going to fit in all of these guys that are coming up. You know, McLean, they got Ellie, they got Abbott. I mean, they have
Marte.
Yeah, Marte.
Cam Collier.
You know, Cam Collier. Like, man, they got some hitters in their minor league system. So, Reds fans, I think there's a lot to be excited for. You know, for the future.
Yeah, I'm happy a Reds fan saying that. That's going to be an exciting team to watch for the next half decade.
Yeah, that's a hot pick. The Reds are hot. Even I think there's a lot of Reds players that are quickly becoming good pickups. All right, so that's Matt Mclain of the Reds. Where is all he eligible at position-wise, Tommy?
It's just shortstop right now, and it's all he's been playing. I don't know if he's going to pick anything else until Ellie comes up. If I had to guess, he and Ellie will split time back and forth between short and third. The both of them will get both eligibilities, but that's probably going to be their only positions.
Roger. All right, Wesley. Who you got to help the people next week?
So the guy that I'm going to talk about is it the same lines of what Tommy said. He's on a decently bad team, but Riley Greene has really started to kind of pick it up as of the month of May. So he's currently 77% owned in CBS leagues. Month of May, he's hitting 365. He has 13 extra base hits, 11 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, and he scored 83.5 points in the month of May, which ranked 20th among all outfielders. And so to kind of go into his monthly splits, April and May, he was walking at 7% and striking out at 32%, with a 620 ops. He's seriously turned it around in May. He's striking out 25%, and his ops is right at over 1,000. So I don't know. I feel like for Riley Greene, it's like he's finally kind of turned the corner on the prospect pedigree, and kind of making the most of it.
Yeah,
just in time for him to go down with a fracture in his leg.
I know. And he did come up with the was that today, right? Or yesterday?
In the last 24 hours or so.
Yesterday, yeah. So hopefully that isn't a long stint, but he was on track. He was really trending upwards.
So this isn't necessarily a grab and start for week 9. This is a grab and are you grabbing and holding him if you have a spot?
Yeah, I'm gonna hold him. Obviously, you're gonna have to pay attention to what comes out of the injury designation, but I'm definitely gonna hold him and just keep him on the bench until he comes back. If you are rotating outfielders like I am right now, he was pretty hot lately.
Yeah, he was the 5th overall pick in 2019, Riley Greene, and then at one point he was I want to say a top 20, top 15, maybe even top 10 prospect last year going into the season. Started out, I think he had a lower back injury to start the year, and so 2022 was just not a great start for him. He was highly regarded. He's got above average hit tool, above average power, about average run tool. So he's close to a 5-tool guy, and it finally seems to be showing up. So yeah, Riley Greene, if you got a spot to hold him while he's got a little fracture, fractures usually, depending on how bad it is, can be short or long. But Riley Greene's got the pedigree, like Wesley said.
Or if you got an IL spot that you can place him on, it might be worth picking him up and stashing him.
Yeah, that's a strategy. If you got open IL spots, might as well add somebody that's on the IL. All right, so the guy I got, I think he's on Wesley's team right now, actually, is Bryan De La Cruz of the Miami Marlins. I tried to find if his prospect pedigree, he was never a Marlins top prospect at all. But I did find his scouting report, and it still was not impressive at all. But the guy's, as a fantasy player, is putting up numbers like a regular. He's put up 22 points each of the last 4 weeks. I think he's on pace to do that. He's on pace to do that again this week. That's what you want. I think if you can get a player to score 20 points for you, if you get each player to score 20 points, that's 300 points, I believe, in regular CBS standard lineups. But not only is De La Cruz doing well in the past weeks, next week the Miami Marlins have the best hitting schedule. They face Oakland and Kansas City. So if you wanted to try your luck on Bryan De La Cruz this week, he's probably going to do pretty well facing those 2 weak lineups.
I think that's a great pick.
I'm going to knock on wood for that, Burns. Thank you.
He's going to come up with a fracture all of a sudden too as soon as that touches him.
Right.
Yeah, I think between the matchups and him just getting hot and Miami giving him time to play, that's maybe one of the best waiver picks we've given you all year.
So I think we each gave a hitter there. Tommy, you got a pitcher for folks for week 9?
Yeah, I'm going back to the Reds well. Name I did not think I'd be calling is Blake Lively. He's a 31-year-old journeyman.
No. Hold on. Say that name again.
Blake. Oh, Ben Lively.
Ben Lively, not Blake Lively.
My God. I've been hearing those jokes on Twitter all week. Sorry, you're right. Not the brother of actress Blake Lively, who is beautiful, by the way. Ben Lively. He's a pitcher. Blake is an actress. Ben is a pitcher, 31-year-old pitcher, journeyman on the Reds. He's bounced around, and this year he found it. I don't know what's going on. He's got 5 games, 3 of them started. So he just got into the rotation for the Reds. But during that time, he's pitched 22 innings for 22 strikeouts and a 0.93 whip. That's as good as you can ask for. He's got a almost 28% strikeout rate and a 6% walk rate, both above average for strikeouts and below average for walks. 2 ERA with less than a 3 expected. So all the metrics back it up, and he's been consistent. I don't know how long he's going to stay in this rotation. If he pitches like this, he'll be there for a long time. But we just talked about how good their young arms are, and I think they'll want to give them the looks if anything falters. But I have not seen anything I don't like from Ben Lively.
Yeah, Ben Lively has quite the road to success here. He was drafted by the Reds, I think, in 2013, traded to the Phillies, traded to the Royals, traded to the Diamondbacks. 2 months later, he went to Japan or Korea. Korea then cut him when he got hurt, and then 2022, the Reds signed him back. But he had the pedigree when he was drafted and came up. He just never put it all together. It's funny. I listened to another baseball podcast, and they were pooping all over. I don't want anything to do with Ben. And then he threw a great game against the Boston Red Sox to keep showing that maybe he isn't just a fluke.
Yeah, the only thing on his Baseball Savant fan page that's blue is his fastball velocity and chase rate. You can live with a low 90s fastball if you've got awesome slider, changeup. Shane Bieber did it for years. He's starting to maybe fall out of that, but he's
Rich Hill.
Yeah, no kidding. It's even slower. It can be done. You miss bats and just weak contact. You can be successful. So, like I said, I don't think he's gonna be a breakout candidate and he's your next Jacob deGrom. But ride it while it's hot. Make sure you're playing a good matchup. I think he's a good one to 2-start weeks and good matchups. Definitely want to start him. Let's see, his 3 games were Boston, Cardinals, and the Yankees. So none of those matchups were easy. They did good in all 3 of those. So maybe it's not even a matchup play. Maybe it's just ride it while it's hot until it falls off. But someone I'd be looking to pick up.
Yes. I mentioned him as a pickup before last week, and he went and started against the Red Sox, and here he is again. So some good analytics going on for Ben Lively if Tommy's mentioned him this week. You mentioned that he was a little soft tosser. That was the only thing against him. And so I'm also mentioning another soft tosser that just came back from injury for a few since last season. It's Kyle Hendricks. Kyle Hendricks used to be a guy who just had elite command, never threw it hard, but he had a 2-seamer and a changeup that he could just locate and would rack up strikeouts for the guys. This week, he says he feels like himself again. He's got his control. He just shut down the Rays, the best team in baseball. And he's got 2 starts in week 9. I'm not saying that they're the best matchups, but they are against the San Diego Padres and San Francisco Giants. 2 not hot hitting teams. It's not the best matchups, but you could get much worse. I think because these are 2 lower end teams, he's not going to get, I think, a 9-inning complete game and give you 30 points in 1 start, but combined out of the 2 starts, he could get you 30 points. I don't think he's going to go negative against those guys. I think he's got enough on the 2-seam and changeup that he's not going to get hit hard. Tom, you don't happen to be pulling up his Baseball Savant to see his hard hit rate, do you?
I pulled up his fan graphs.
No.
What are you laughing at, Wes?
I think the Cubs have a better team than the last few years that he was, look, the 2022, 2021, he was a 4.8 ERA and a 4.7 the last 2 years. But, the one thing I'll say about Kyle Hendricks is he knows how to pitch, and we're out of the juice ball era per se until we find some reports later after the season. But I was scrolling through the top pitchers in fantasy earlier today, and if you take away the top 8 pitchers, right, who are just the Spencer Strider types, it's littered with guys like Kyle Hendricks. Like that tier 2, tier 3 are not guys that are going to blow up the radar gun, but don't have just pure stuff. So, I mean, I've always kind of shied away from Kyle Hendricks in the past, or that type guy, like a Miles Michaelis. But man, those guys are really succeeding this year. Like I'm not.
Those aren't throwers; they're pitchers. You got the guys like who the Braves just called up, who didn't start pitching until his senior year of high school, was drafted out of high school, and he was just all he threw his senior year of high school was a fastball, just blew by folks. That's a thrower, and he quickly learned how to become a pitcher. There's a big difference between a pitcher and a thrower.
Mm-hmm.
So Burns, respectfully, I can't say I agree with you on this pickup here for Hendricks. The surface numbers aren't too shabby, but he's got a 182 whip, and he's just letting so much contact. He's got a 33% hard contact rate, so they're not hitting it hard, but his quality of contact is really bad.
Savant doesn't have his rates yet.
You got to look further down the statistics. Statcast statistics, but the expected Wobicon, which is basically Robon contact, is 432, which is 100 points higher than league average.
He's had how many starts?
He's got 2. So there's a small sample to pull from.
2. Yeah, small
but
sample.
He doesn't throw hard. He doesn't throw hard. He's giving up contact. It's not hard contact, but it's a ton of contact. It's quality contact. So it's hard to understand, but there's different metrics that justifies each one. It's about velocity and launch angle.
It's hard to understand.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. But his walk rate's high, strikeouts low. That's just nothing I'm looking for in a pitcher. And the expected numbers behind that is almost 3 runs higher than his actual ERA. Again, small sample size, this can change quickly, but
I think it's he just came up and was still working, pitching to major league hitters from injury. First 2 starts back, and they've just looked better and better each start that he's been back.
Perhaps giving up
he's only owned in like 7% of leagues.
The credit I'll give to you against his first start against the Mets, there was 2 unearned runs, obviously not his fault, which does, that can accrue some extra hits and extra walks you didn't account for. So maybe that'll play into it, but I still need to see a lot more before I'm going to go pick him up.
Right. Well, he's got 2 starts this week. Can be value.
What are the matchups this week for him?
Who he's facing?
Yeah.
The Padres and the Giants.
Man, the 2 start weeks are very odd this year. Because Padres haven't been the offense we expected them to be, but I would still, if his first matchup, yeah, they do have weapons, and that can turn around really quick and at any time for them. Right?
It did today. Put up 10 runs.
Yeah.
El Getty, they picked up Gary. That's their key to the.
Yeah, that's what it was, Gary Sanchez. But so if a 2-start pitcher has like a weak matchup in matchup 1, like I'm more inclined to start him, even if he has a lesser appealing matchup in the second start. But if he's got like the Yankees in start 1 or the Rays in start 1, like, man, I'm even in a 2-start week, like I'm not. It's tough to start that person.
Are you worried about him doing bad in the first start and not getting that second start? Maybe.
In some cases, yes. But also, if you go negative points, speaking strictly points leagues in the first start, then that second start you're just working from behind, right? And it's whereas if that first start is positive, like even if you have positive 5 or positive 8, like I would rather have that going into the second matchup where than negative points in the first matchup with facing the Oakland A's in your second one.
Oakland A's is pretty enticing.
And they took 2 or 3 from the Braves, so I was shaking my head. Still shaking my head. A's took 2 of 3 from us.
First time they've won two games in a row, or second time they've won 2 games in a row this year. Yeah, that was ugly.
Ugh.
So, all right. So, mixed feelings on Kyle Hendricks. So, Wes, meantime, you have a pitcher there who you got for week 9 for a pitcher.
Yeah, I'm gonna mention a pitcher, but just real quick because Royce Lewis just hit another home run to tie the game 6-6. Real quick, if Royce Lewis is available in your league, go pick him up. Not my pick, but I would mention that.
Big pedigree in the past. He just couldn't stay healthy before getting called up.
Yeah, and I feel like he's going to be second base, third base, shortstop eligible all over just because Correa, Polanco, and who's playing third for them right now?
Not Kiola or Miranda?
Miranda got demoted, didn't he?
I don't know. I don't keep up with the Twins too closely.
Yeah, maybe he'll end up at third base. Anyways, so my pick for waiver wire pickup this week going to be Braxton Garrett. All right, he's 36% owned in CBS leagues. So on May 3rd, he gave up 11 earned runs to the Braves. All right, and it was one of those things where manager just said, "Hey man, you got to bite the bullet," and just left him out there, and he just kept giving up runs. So if you remove that start from Braxton Garrett, he's only given up more than 2 runs once. All right. And if you remove that from all of his other stats, he's gone 51 innings pitched, a 51-10 strikeout to walk ratio, and his ERA goes from 4.5 to 2.69. Right. That's appealing to me. I really like that. Yeah. So the fact that he had one terrible start that's really kind of dragging down all the rest of his numbers, I'd be willing to pick him up, and at least in a 2-start week, the Marlins are starting to have some offensive production. First month and a half of the season, they were, I think, 28th or 29th in the league in offensive production, but with guys like De La Cruz coming around, Arise came back. They're starting to have some really good production. So I feel pretty confident in Braxton Garrett.
And Jazz comes back next week.
Can you give me 1 second? Yeah. Okay, I got my waiver claim submitted for him.
I was gonna put one in for him, but I'm 11th, and I'm like, that sucks.
Yeah, his scouting report when he was still prospect eligible. 60 grade curveball, a little above average fastball and changeup. So he had the pedigree.
Pop quiz. You know where he went to high school?
Yeah, I do. Tommy, do you know where he went to? Florence.
No, I didn't know that.
Went to Florence High School.
Right down the road.
7th overall in 2016, and took him a while to get here. But he's out of high school, right? He was out of Florence, wasn't
yeah. Yeah, I felt like he was going to add some velocity. That he might be like a 95, 96 guy when he got to the league. He's not quite that. If you look at his Savant page, I'll say this. There's a little bit of mixed stuff here, but he gets a decent amount of whiffs, and he has a really good chase rate. And honestly, he's got a great strikeout to walk ratio. So that's really what's appealing to me because in this era of offensive production, man, walks, they almost count double in points leagues because almost every time somebody walks, there's a single or a double or something that happens that gets that guy in.
Stolen base,
right.
A walk's a double.
And the Twins just walked it off. Fantastic.
Does that hurt you or something?
No, it was just fun to watch.
Oh, who are they playing?
Cleveland.
No. The Twins are going to run away with that division.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was Braxton Garrett. He is only 36% rostered in CBS leagues. Since week 6, he has been scored, I'd say, an average of 18 points. over across the last 4 weeks, with a down week of 5.5 in week 8.
And he's got a 2-start week next week with some favorable matchups: Kansas City and the White Sox.
Oh yeah.
I'll put a waiver claim just in case Tommy screws it up.
Yeah. Well, I just lost Chris Sale probably for some time, so I need another pitcher. My 7th pitcher to go on the IL this year. This has just been so much fun this year. Lots of fun.
Yeah. Tommy, don't pick up Braxton and get him hurt.
Yeah, he'll get hurt too. Don't worry.
Sale will have an MRI tomorrow. Corey didn't know much. Chris Castillo. Sale wanted to stay in, but Corey said he couldn't be. Okay. That didn't really tell us much, the tweet.
No, Sale's not saying anything. I just saw a tweet on it. Sale's being quiet until he has an MRI and knows what's going on. So, well, that's going to be fun.
Yeah. So I don't want to make Burns' case on Hendricks. I probably wouldn't pick him up yet, but I'm gonna read through the list of top pitchers right now, scoring wise, in head-to-head points leagues, right? And I'm gonna remove the first 9, 10. All right. So the first 10 are McClanahan, Evaldi, Cole, Ryan, Valdez, right? Those are the guys with just pure stuff.
Who are all owned already.
Yeah, they're all owned, right? But if you go further down that list, like the next 10 to 15 guys are Justin Steele, right? Zach Eflin, Eduardo Rodriguez, Merrill Kelly, Logan Webb, Little Skip Gosman and Castillo, Bryce Elder, Sonny Gray, Clayton Kershaw, Kyle Gibson, Tyler Wells, right? Like, those aren't guys that you look at and you're like, wow, this guy has great stuff. He throws 98 with a unhittable slider, right? Like, these are guys that pitch. And I don't know. I mean, maybe those guys are just back.
And that's like Noah Syndergaard. He just was able to flame throw it past people. And now all of a sudden he can't throw that hard and he doesn't know how to be a pitcher.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Dude's dying to be a pitcher, and he has to figure that out. I
think the best example of it is Greg Maddux. I don't even think he threw like 85, and
yeah,
he's in the Hall of Fame, isn't he? He better be. If he's not, I can't remember. Yeah, so
he's a 300 game winner.
If you can warp that ball and locate, you don't have to throw 100.
No, yep, that's true. So, all right, any last words for episode 19, week 9 preparation?
Yeah, ironically, I'm watching Ben Joyce pitch right now. Not really fantasy relevant because unless you're saves plus holds, but he's throwing 102. So yeah, you can be pretty effective. You can throw 102, 103.
As long as you know where it's somewhat going.
He's got control.
He does. If you watched him at Tennessee, man,
most of the time,
like, God, I don't know how he knows where it's going, but dude, at like 104, 105, it's.
No, I think the gun was hot when he hit 105, but he can hit 103 consistently.
He'll be the Angels closer, but sooner rather than later, maybe. I don't think it'll be this year.
Estevez has been pretty good.
Yeah. All right, so this has been episode 19, waiver wire for week 9 to get you folks some help. And for us to chat about who we think is some lowly owned folks that could be valuable. Usually we, I like how Wes has mentioned a guy who he'd like to pick up. It's hard to do to mention that on a podcast. Usually, Wes, you should probably pick him up, the night before and then mention him.
Yeah, I figured I was like last on the waiver wire, and chances are he wasn't going to last long.
You're not only helping out listeners, you're helping out Tommy.
Yeah, and I'm playing Tommy this week, so.
So all right, if you're listening to this and you enjoy the advice or you enjoy the debate back and forth that we have here, and you haven't subscribed on Spotify or follow us on Instagram, please do that. For that, this is episode 19, and we will catch you guys on the next episode.